So basically, we've heard Toni say that he wasn't going to rant on United, but he went and did his rant, which is calm. We'll allow that. I personally think West Ham. Toni goes with Man United. So I want to get you guys' view. Do you agree with what me and Toni have said? Or do you think there's another team that we should really have our eye on that's had a poor window or has not done as good as one of those guys have decided?
Go on, Abdi.
I'm going to have to agree with Toni, mainly because of the Jadon Sancho stuff. It was so public, and the valuation that Dortmund put on his head was 120 million. All along, it stayed 120 million. Manchester United thought they could, budge, and towards the end, they may be able to get him for a bit cheaper. And that clearly didn't happen. And they've panicked now and bought Cavani, who clearly was not first choice because he was free all summer. That's why I think United have had a bit of a bad one.
No, I think Man United have had like a bad window. When you nail your colours to the mast and say, I want Jadon Sancho, and you don't get him, it opens up a can of worms. And it seems that from Manchester United's hierarchy standpoint, it's a bit of a scattergun approach. When you look at teams like Liverpool, they've got their profile of target. Okay, I want Ismail Assar. We can't structure a deal. Okay, I'm going to go for Hotta. Okay, we want Jamal Lewis. We can't strike a deal with Norwich. Okay, we're going to get Tsimikas. Whereas with this Man United, it's like, okay, we can't get Jadon Sancho, but we end up with Edison, Cavani. There's no like consistency in the transfer approach. But in my opinion, the team that's had the worst transfer window is Burnley. I know they're not a glamorous or a top 6 club, but when I look at the business, obviously Joe Hart leaving, Hendrick leaving, Lennon leaving, and they only ended up with what? Del Stevens from Brighton. Those teams from like mid-table to bottom, like they're only 1 or 2 bad signings away from a relegation. And I think they're going to struggle this year. They might not go down, but I think they're going to struggle at the bottom end of the table, in my opinion.
See, I'm going to just touch on Burnley because I was thinking them because, bro, if you don't know, I'm from Burnley, right? So
okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm from Burnley. But maybe you go see Burnley. If you come to Turf Moor, like they used to say about Stoke, honestly, playing at Turf Moor is so difficult. It's one of the coldest places you can go. That wind blows in directions that you've never seen before. So I understand when people say, but also when you look at the club, they have literally no budget. So that's why, for me, the only reason I can understand where you come from in terms of there's not that much of a gap in difference in terms of Burnley to probably like not a West Brom, but you get what I mean, that level of competition. I understand that. But when you look at someone like a West Ham, who are in the stadium they're in, I really think they would struggle a lot more. And they should.
So you think Burnley's going to finish higher than West Ham this season?
100%. I personally think.
Wow.
100%. Like, it's not even a problem for me. The reason.
So you think Burnley have a better squad now than West Ham?
Burnley don't have a better squad, but they have a better structure. If that makes you understand, Sean Dyche is there. He's not going to go. West Ham are winning games when David Moyes isn't around. Do you understand what I mean? The rotation with West Ham
is working from home, Fergie.
Exactly. Like, whereas if you look at Burnley, the fans themselves understand we will be lucky to sign 2 players and be happy. As long as we keep our manager, we're good. And I feel like that's another reason why there's no worry about Burnley. Fans are not anxious about them. They understand that if they start slow, remember when they played Europa League previously, they've started slow, got knocked out, and then consistently finished the 13th, 14th position. I think they're a top 10 team only because after you go past 7, the quality is that poor that anybody slots in between them places. So yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, Burnley 100% finish above West Ham. West Ham for me are in relegation watch. And the only reason they could survive because teams like Fulham and West Brom are really poor. If you think about it, that's the only reason they have more of a Premier League pedigree than the others that are more up and down. But yeah, 100% Burnley will finish above West Ham.
Someone saved this for the end of the season when West Ham finish.
When Antonio scores 12 in like 4 games.
Yeah,
every year Antonio turns up.
Remember what Pookie did right at the start of the season for Norwich? And look
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like But yeah, okay.
But to be fair to West Ham, Antonio has 10 in his last 10. I think when you look at the starting 11, they actually have a very dangerous team, and I think they're going to have more than enough to stay up. And I see them in mid-table this season.
I was gonna say one of West Ham players might be one of my signings of the season.
Okay.
Suchek.
Thomas Suchek.
Yeah.
I feel like I've obviously, where I'm from, I'm surrounded by West Ham fans, and they love him, and I feel like they want. I really feel like he slots into that midfield well. They're kind of, West Ham are kind of going out of the old, let's get rid of Mark Noble. Like, Mark Noble's slowly phasing out the team. They're slowly starting to get to not proper, like, oh, good old West Ham. They're slowly trying to play more football. And they looked good against Leicester the other day, man. They looked good. And if this was last season, I feel like I need to give a little shout out to Jared Bowen.
What a player.
Yeah.
Bro, we might have to call him the Stratford Robin or something, because he's a guy. Like,
The Westfield Robin.
Yeah, man, the Westfield Robin or something, because he's a pretty decent guy. But I feel like if I'm gonna go my little under the radar signing of the season, I'm gonna go Thomas Suchek, because obviously he played on loan last season, but it was official this season, and even last season he played pretty well. Got that goal against Chelsea as well.
I think just to add about... No,
Sorry,
go on, finish up. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that I feel like he's just going to be a very decent signing for them.
No, I think just to like finish up on who we're worried about, I said on Sky, Man City, I'm worried. I'm not convinced by the business that they've done, but I think to dig a little deeper, I look at Sheffield United and I'm really, really concerned. I think that Ryan Brewster signing has to come good. If not, I think they'll go down this season, because when I look at their team, it's championship quality. Obviously, Adrian Brewster, he's proven in the championship, 11 goals, last season in the championship. But can he have that impact in the Premier League? It's going to be a difficult one.
I've got something quick to say. I think West Ham has had the worst window because of embarrassment. I think sometimes it's not always about... Sometimes I think it's just about scenarios. And the fact that Tomori wasn't getting the game time. I feel he's getting disrespected by Frank Lampard because he's not being given the chances. And the fact that he has said that he didn't want to go to West Ham, I think it's a slap in the face to West Ham. And it's like, it shows that there's something about West Ham that's just not appealing to other players. Because I don't know where Suchek came from, but you would hope that you would be able to attract players that aren't really getting game time from the Premier League, especially when you're a Premier League club. So that's why I think West Ham had the worst window.
I heard that. I think obviously when you look at West Ham, when you talk about the feeling around the club, obviously that Diangana selling, the fans went mad. Mark Noble put out a tweet, Declan Rice liked it. And I even spoke to Grady Diangana's agent, and he was like, you know what, we didn't expect that to happen. But obviously Grady is a boy that's loved by the club. He's, a quiet and shy lad. And like Declan Rice and Noble thought this season, he's going to kick on for West Ham in the Premier League. So for them to sell like a boy that's come up through the system, been in the academy, it just shocked everyone. But I think those last two results have, probably put the fires out, and it looks like West Ham are going to kick on, and I see them being comfortable in the Premier League, but they're never too far away from a crisis. That's one thing I would say.
Yeah. Especially with Moyes at the helm, trust me, I'll tell you, from Moyes at the helm, they're never too far away from a crisis with that guy. But Abdi, what were you going to say, bro?
Yeah, you touched on who the potential signing of the window is. I wanted to ask you guys, who's your signing of the window?
Okay, so if I'm going to take this is going to be a bit cheap. I'm going to differ between either Callum Wilson for Newcastle, or if I can say this, Aubameyang re-signing for Arsenal. Can I use that?
Yes.
No, Aubameyang doesn't count, man.
I don't mind it counting. I really don't mind it.
If I can use Aubameyang 100%, he's the signing of the window, because he's the guy that completes Arsenal as that team. Without him, you've got everybody that slates Lacazette already. I still don't know why Aubameyang gets played out wide. I understand it a bit, but I would personally play him through the middle. And I just think he's the guy. But yeah, for 100%, Callum Wilson for Newcastle, it's just easy. The guy's scoring goals. He's come from Bournemouth, scoring goals. He's helping St. Maximin look better as well. And there's the idea of the feel-good factor is perfect when it comes to Newcastle United. Newcastle United have been screaming for something to come instead of being like just that mid-table team that flirts with relegation for about 3/4 of the season, finds them way out of it and just goes to nowhere. This season could be really one of them where they could do something, and it's just a genuine club run. Now, obviously, right now they're 9th. But for me, I look at Callum Wilson, I think he can get them a cup run, something they really, really need. And for me, I'm going to take Callum Wilson as a signing of the season. None of these top 6 teams have a signing that can be as impactful as him. And so, yeah.
Nah, Callum Wilson though, really, because he has a record of he starts the season well, but from January onwards he goes on a run of games without a goal.
But has he ever played with the?
I was at Bournemouth though. He could do well. Obviously, as you said, we got St. Maximin. Like you've got what's that? Sean Longstaff and them man. So you never know. You never know with Newcastle and that guy Matty Longstaff that only wants to perform against Man United. But yeah, you never know with Newcastle. I thought it was a decent signing for Newcastle. I feel like Newcastle low-key had a decent window as well with the players they signed as well. And Callum Wilson on top of that as well. They also signed Ryan Fraser as well from Bournemouth. So yeah, no, I can see Callum Wilson.
If I was to give mine, I'm gonna have to say James Rodriguez. I mean, going to a club like Everton, this is a man that lit up the 2014 World Cup. He's played on the highest level, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. And when you think of a club like Everton in the last 5 to 10 years, James Rodriguez, when you're measuring him up, you know, against those dizzy heights that he's reached, technically he's got no business being at Everton. So for him to be at Everton and, you know, showing so far that he's still got that quality, that hunger, I think that's definitely the signing of the window. So I'm going with James Rodriguez.
I think it's very easy for me to sit here and throw the big names like Thiago to Liverpool, Thomas Partey. I think he's going to be a sensational player for Arsenal. But I'm going to go a bit left field and I'm going to go with Ollie Watkins. I just think Aston Villa needed that striker that's going to have that movement, running behind, keep defenders busy. And Ollie Watkins scoring a hat-trick against Liverpool, I wasn't shocked. I knew he was going to score that game because this is a guy that he doesn't get upset with himself. He may miss chances, but he continues to make that run over and over again. And we've got like a great relationship with these representatives, and the guy's level-headed. We know that he's going to take to the Premier League. And I just think Ollie Watkins, fully fit for Aston Villa this season, he will score like 15 Premier League goals.
And he's got that mindset. Like he's been in the non-league, played at Exeter, was at Havant and Waterlooville. So he's coming in hungry. He knows this is his big stage, and obviously working with a manager that he's worked with before at Brentford, Dean Smith, they know each other inside out. So I think, you know, he's obviously told him that, listen, you're going to be my main man. You're going to be starting every game as long as you're fit. And when you've got that confidence from your manager, it's only going to lead to great performances. And we've already seen him linking up well with Jack Grealish. Ross Barkley's been added to the party. So, yeah, that's a good shout, in my opinion.
It's funny because I'm in some group chats, and when that fee got confirmed, people are like, oh, my days, like 33 million. And I was like, that is worth it for Ollie Watkins. Like, he's a very, very good player, and he's going to be fine in the Premier League.